So this is gonna be a little bit different. This is kind of just a full breakdown for you Highland gamer guys that are, working on trying to get better at the sport. Here's a little bit more insight into my hammer training, what a full practice looks like. I don't really have every throw recorded, but I'm gonna give some commentary over what I'm trying to accomplish with each throw. And I did some videos in slow-mo, that way kind of get a better look at some of the positions I'm trying to create, and I kind of walk you through what I'm thinking per throw and the cues that are going on. So hope you guys enjoy this. I want to start doing these a little bit more often, give some more info out there for you Highland gamers and people who want to get better at the sport, other than just vlog stuff. So this gives me another opportunity to actually separate, throwing footage to be useful training information, and then just the entertainment of kind of the day-to-day vlog stuff. So I hope this works for you guys, and thanks a bunch and enjoy. All right, talk a little bit about the setup with the feet and what you want to do. So as you dig your blades in, I like to kind of offset just a little bit. I leave them straight ahead and I do them at shoulder width, my athletic stance, just like I do anything else. So if you're not sure what that is for you, jump up, and where you naturally land in that position that you would be ready to move from, that's where you want to keep your feet. Don't get wide, don't get real close. And for me, I like to set my left foot back just a little bit, and that way I can finish the throw a little bit better and get the hip through and finish out. So that's what I do to dig in, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like, as well as a few little setup tricks for the hammer. So that's kind of your basic foot position, and that way from there you can really drive that right knee through every round and start pushing that hammer down to finish the throw better. So that's foot position, that's where I put it, and I'll show you kind of how my original setup goes. I'm gonna start with the hammer behind me on the right side, and the first throw I'm gonna come through and really try to push that elbow back behind me to keep everything on that right side. And as I hit that top, I'm gonna push down and then get back to catch. That's the big key to keeping generating force and getting that ball moving to finally finish the throw. And you really want to just try to stay smooth with your winds and slowly build speed, but build that speed with the hips. After those, it's just going to be simple progression of a 1 turn and release, 2 turn and release, and then a full throw. The big focus here isn't distance, it is really just pushing out and getting that release and that timing on the finish, and then we're basically going to add turns and work our way back through. So starting really with just kind of the 1 turn and release, what I'm really trying to do is feel that right hand drive and push over that left and trying to get back. I have a tendency to just kind of finish without driving everything back. So I really want to start feeling that acceleration of that right hand push and then getting the head back into the throw, and kind of forcing my body to go in the direction I really want the implement to go instead of me just standing still. One of the common mistakes you see in younger throwers and newer throwers, they actually will follow the opposite way of the hammer's going, and this is not what you want. All the better throwers are going to take kind of a half step toward the throwing sector after they release, or maybe more than that. That way you know that everything's driving in that direction behind you as you push your head back. 2 turns are doing the exact same thing, except for it's just kind of a rolling start through that first one to get a little bit more speed. And with these, I'm not really going for a max distance per se in my training. It's more that I'm just trying to, I am marking the distances, okay? So I'm putting a little flag out. I'm not measuring these, but I am marking where they're landing. And this gives me some, some input or feedback at least to, was this one further than the last one? And the idea kind of for hammer for me is I want to throw as far as possible during training with the least amount of effort. And so I'm really trying to stay smooth on that first one, catch, get that shoulder back, drive it down, and then catch again quickly, and then sink, and you see line the hips extending, the legs extending, with the hands finishing the throw kind of all at the same time. And doing these 1 turns and stuff like that gives me a little bit more feedback since I'm not moving as fast as I am through a full throw.
that I have time to kind of actually do something with the hammer. And then going into full, so I take about 3 or 4 throws with a 1, 3 or 4 throws with a 2 turn, and then, and I apologize for saying turn, it's what it is. We'll call it winds or turns or whatever. And then I go into full throws and take as many throws as needed. And so as you can see here, my hips are starting to get a lot more fluid, a lot more aggressive, and that's going to have to happen so that you can counter that weight as it's pulling behind you. So think about driving it down, staying on that right side so that you can push and turn the hips through and then finish that throw out into the sector. This makes a really big difference and really going to help you with staying powerful. That left hand basically is just kind of working as a cable to keep the orbit of the handle where you want it. The right hand and the right hip are where everything's being pushed. And that's just like all the other throws. This was a pretty good training session for me. I can't really complain about it at all. Really happy with the way the hammer is progressing. And you can see, I mean, the orbit is not just a circle spinning around me, it's more of an ellipse. So the long point's gonna be behind me and the long point's gonna be in front of me as I shift around trying to accelerate the ball. And so I'm pushing with my knees and hips, creating that separation between the upper body and lower, and then finally sinking and finishing out into the sector. So that's, you know, one of the big things is make sure you are finishing toward where you want that thing to go. I know I keep harping on the same type of things, but the more you can keep that ball on your right side by throwing that elbow back on each one and turning the hips over to get back on top of it, the better things are going to be. And it's just going to take repetition with the hammer. Just like any of the other Highland events, this is going to be one of those that you're just going to have to do a lot. And unless you've thrown at a collegiate level, chances are this is going to be really foreign to you. And that's all right, but that's how you learn. Guys like, you know, Jake Sullivan, we're not a collegiate hammer thrower or collegiate thrower by any means, and he's one of the better guys out there right now. So thanks. I hope this commentary works for you guys, and enjoy. So that's really how I want to start trying to do a couple of these. I don't know how often I'll get to them, but I'm going to try to start giving some breakdowns and some insight of what I'm looking at as a thrower, what I'm looking at in my throw, and hopefully some of that can translate to you. I know one of the best resources I had when I was trying to learn to throw was the old videos of guys like Ryan Vieira and Francis Brebner and Alistair Gunn, these guys throwing the Highland Games back in the day and seeing what they were doing that was working, and then just trying to really mimic that. You guys have a really unique opportunity with as much content that's out there from YouTube of people throwing. I mean, if you went back into 20 years into the sport, there is no video footage, and so you would just kind of have to go and see and do. But now you're getting some really talented athletes that are getting out and doing some throwing. I'm not trying to tip my own hat to that, but there are so much throwing information out there from real shot putters, from hammer throwers, from Highland guys, from everyone. So hope this info works for you guys, and thanks.